All right, I'm going to share with you my dream because it was very vivid. I remember everything because there is a lot in it. Okay, so the main important part was I was on tons of airplane flights, two of which I really remember, but I woke up this morning after having these dreams knowing that I had been on a ton of airplane flights and I was just exhausted. So it was more than just the two that I remember from my dream. But so I'm in this airport and there's this familiar looking guy, but he's like a different ethnicity and almost like Indian, kind of like Egyptian looking, but like familiar. Like I've seen him before, but I've never seen this person in my fucking life. So anyways, in my dream, I know him somehow. Like I don't know him, but like we both know each other. Somehow we recognize each other, but we didn't know each other. Even in the dream, we didn't know each other. It's just like we looked familiar to each other. It was really weird. But we get on this plane, okay, and something happened where it was like really weird. This is not even real, but there were like rooms that branched off of the plane, and for some reason, I guess I don't know why, but like we got put in this like separate room, me, him, and like two other people, and it was really weird. So anyways, the flight attendant like locks us in, I think because of the storm that was coming. Okay, so I know this isn't realistic, this is just my dream. Anyways, he's aware that something's going on that isn't right, and we hit all this turbulence, and he's like, here, come here. And I'm like, okay. And he tells me to hold on to this table that was like, I don't know, somehow glued to the side of the plane. Okay, in this room. And he's like, this is the sturdiest thing in this room. I have a feeling from what I'm getting is like the plane is about to tip over. And so we're going to have to hold on to something. So the plane somehow flips upside down. Something happened with the pilot. The pilot like disappeared out of the pilot seat. Like didn't disappear, but like lost control of the plane, like passed out or blacked out or something, okay? And then the plane, like, I'm aware of all of this. It's like I'm seeing it from a bird's eye view of like everything that's happening simultaneously at once. It's like I'm in all these different locations at once, which is really fucking weird. I was just like hyper aware of what was going on. Anyways, he's like, I know this plane is going to flip upside down, so you need to hold on to this now. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, also hold on to my hand. And I'm like, okay. So it flips upside down. And it's so weird because in the dream, like all these people, like I heard, like fall to the ceiling of the plane. There's crying. There's like just all this chaos going on. And I'm trying to just remain calm. Just trying to remain calm through it all. And I'm like trying to breathe and try to hold on at the same time. And I don't know. It was really weird. And then the plane flips right side up. And I was aware at the time that this happened that there was a second pilot that got in the pilot's seat and took control of the plane and put it right side up. And then like shortly after that, he's like, okay, I'm landing this plane. And so he lands the plane. Okay. And so we end up like getting off the plane, and like I asked this guy that like I recognized, that the same one, if I could borrow his phone because I had no service and I needed to tell my parents what was going on, and call them and let them know that I'm okay after all this crazy shit just happened. And it was like he just like completely acted like he didn't even care. He didn't give two shits in the world after he just like freaking saved my life basically by telling me what to do. So it made no sense, okay? And I'm like really pissed, like, because I need to call my parents and like tell them what just happened to me. So he goes and he's on his phone. He won't let me use his phone. He goes and walks off in the airport. I'm like, I don't know anyone in this airport. I'm completely alone. All I have is my phone, and my phone has barely any service. So I'm like, fuck. So I finally get a hold of my brother, my little brother, and he picks up the phone. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I have one bar. And I'm like, Jacob, you need to get mom and dad on the phone. And I'm like crying at this point. And he's like, why? And I'm like, it's really fucking important. Just get them on the phone. And he's like, okay. So he goes to get them on the phone. Then I have no more service. And so I can't get a hold of them. And I'm like, fuck. And I know I have to get on this other flight to get to wherever else I'm going. So I get on this, I'm sorry, this is so long. So I get on this other flight and it was fine. The flight was fine. It wasn't like the first one at all. But then we get to the place where we're landing and it was like halfway through from this other flight. So it's in the middle of the fucking ocean and it's this pillar, almost like a castle looking thing, and it's white and it's got all this ornate blue, like dark blue ornate design all over it, and there's like these high waves that are like hitting it. It's in the middle of the fucking ocean, and I'm like, okay. And they're like, we have to get off here, and then you'll have to catch this, we'll be back in the morning to catch this other flight, whatever. So it's like this place where you stay, I guess. Anyways, so I'm getting off of the airplane and there's like this wooden board thing to get off, and you have to jump from where the airplane is and then jump to this wooden board like dock thing to get in, but you have to like make sure the waves aren't coming before you jump, because then otherwise you'll hit the wave obviously and get like sucked into the ocean. This is my dream, okay? So I'm like, fuck. So I have to wait for the wave to hit, and then right after the wave hits I have to jump and hopefully make it onto this wooden dock thing so I can enter into this castle thing, this one pillared or two pillared, I don't even know, castle thing. I think it was one pillar from what I remember, to get inside. So I do it and I make it inside, and then all I remember is like I'm being shown into this room, and these were like really nice, like expensive looking rooms. So I'm in this dark, like big room, and I have, I'm like, all I remember is like being in this bed that looked somewhat familiar, but not. And it had white sheets, and I'm like really exhausted at this point because I haven't slept and I'm so tired. And that's all I remember in the dream is like, I'm so fucking tired, like, because I haven't slept and I'm trying to get a hold of my fucking parents. And so I like start falling asleep, and then I like wake up to the sound of waves hitting my window. So I know there's like a storm outside because like the waves get like really, really rough and they're hitting almost to like the middle point of my window. And I'm on one of the upper levels, so I know it's like bad. And I remember being woken up and I look around the room and I see a phone charger and I'm like, no fucking way. And so I go to the phone charger and I plug it in, and it says like it's a European outlet or something to do with like European outlet, which is weird. That could just have came up because I had just read something about a European outlet when I was like Googling something the other day. So anyways, I don't think it was in Europe though. That's the thing. I don't think this place was in Europe. But anyways, it wasn't in Europe. I'm really almost 100% sure this place is not in Europe. But anyways, so I plug in the outlet to like the charger to my phone, and the piece that goes on my phone is fine and it's charging, and I'm like, oh, thank God. And so I let my phone charge for a little bit and I lay back down, and then I kept hearing it go off like ringing, and it was almost like this part was weird because it was like I was trying so hard to get a hold of my parents, and then they're calling me, but I'm so tired from not sleeping that I'm like laying there, and I'm almost kind of like mad at them at this point because like I hadn't received like a call back from them or something. And so at this point I'm like, oh, I don't even care. Like if they call me, at least they know my phone is ringing and they know like I'm okay if my phone's working or something. It was really weird, the whole part. I'm like trying to remember all of it. I wrote this, I was like half asleep, half awake, and I just remember I constantly kept getting woken up because I kept hearing my phone ring. But I was like, I almost like I didn't even care at that point because I don't know, it's so weird in my dream. But okay, so that place in the ocean that I was at, they told me in my dream that it was like St. Lucas. And so I was automatically thinking like St. Lucia because I've heard of St. Lucia before, but it was like St. Lucas. So of course today I go to my phone and I'm like looking like what the fuck is St. Lucas, like places wise. And it took me to this place in my phone called Cabo San Lucas. And what's weird about it is like the stones in the ocean or wherever it is, they almost resemble kind of like the castle, but that wasn't it. And I don't even know if that's the right place. And it's gonna like drive me nuts because I know exactly, very detailed, like what this place looked like. And I know it's just a dream, but they kept saying St. Lucas. So yeah, it's really weird. So I was looking up castles in the middle of the ocean. They took me to this one that was like St. Michael. It's dedicated to St. Michael or something. That was one of the ones I found. I found a bunch of different things, but I don't know exactly what it was. But yeah, so that was my whole dream. And I know it's a lot. But that it was so detailed and it literally felt real. And like I couldn't even wake up this morning. Like I could not get up like I normally do. I was very exhausted. So I know I did a lot in my dreams last night.
You're welcome. I had it sorted.
What was it this time?
He bumped me.
So you hit him?
No. After he bumped me, they tried to make me apologize. That's when I hit him.
Really? Is it that hard just to walk away?
I shouldn't have to. I mean, don't you ever get tired of being treated like a kid?
We are kids.
Well, I wasn't always. It's been a year. How long does he expect us to wait?
I think it's time to accept that we live here. It's no use pretending any different. Oh no. Pretend you're talking to me.
We are talking to you.
Ow!
Quiet, Lou.
Something pinched me.
Hey, stop pulling!
I'm touching you.
But all you just... What is that?
Feels like magic.
Quick, everyone hold hands.
I'm not holding your hand! shaking on as quick as me, Ed. Watch out! Here it comes!
Wait a minute!
Hurry up!
Come on, Lucy! Ed? Ed!
What is it?
Where do you suppose we are?
Well, where do you think?
Well, I don't remember any ruins in Narnia.